Hi, this is the Orange. Let me preface this by saying that I don't really believe that we've reached this point. I want to talk to you about the social justice movement. Now, I understand this topic may be a little difficult to talk about, mainly because I personally consider myself against the majority of the social justice movement. With that said, I am not a hateful person. I do not dislike anybody for many of the reasons that a lot of people may say, you're a bad person. I don't want to virtue signal in this. I don't want to say I am a moral person. I am a good person. I don't want to say that kind of crap because frankly, it doesn't help anything. But I think there is something to say about the possibility of us working together. Don't get me wrong. I do understand that there's quite a few people in the either side, both anti and non-anti-social justice, that will not get along with one another, regardless of what we try to achieve. With that said, within the minority of each group, there are people who can work together. And I want it to be understood that there is a possibility here, a potential for something worthwhile. Now, you look at me and you see a character, a creation put forth to speak opinions that otherwise would not be voiced. But I look at myself and just see myself. This is who I am. It's who I've always been. I have very strong opinions about various topics. And I do not believe that having a strong opinion is a bad thing. I personally don't like the Black Lives Matter movement. It has nothing to do with the fact that I don't like people of color, because I don't. I have no issue with anyone from any particular race. I regularly speak to one of my Muslim friends who runs a tobacco shop. If he wasn't around, I wouldn't be able to get any of the stuff I need. And you may say this is a small point, but this is a person that we interact with. And I understand that a lot of people will use, I have a black friend, or I have a Muslim friend, or I have an Asian friend, and that means I'm not racist. Well, not necessarily. But this person that I speak to regularly, yes, he is a person of color. Yes, that doesn't mean I'm not racist. But what it does mean is on an almost daily basis, I have somebody who is a person that experiences life differently from me. And I can talk to him about those different experiences. Me and him discuss it all the time. And I think that is something that is important. It's not, I'm trying to say I'm not racist. What it is I want to understand these people because they are kind to me. I want to know how I can help this person because they are my friend. And I think seriously that this is a barrier that has been shoved into the face of the anti-social justice movement. We don't care about these situations because these people are not our friends. They're not people who want to talk to us. This is a grouping of people who actively tries to go against us, who actively tries to take away what we consider fundamental rights. I do a YouTube channel, and yes, it's for my pointless conversations with people that otherwise I would never have spoken to in my life. But if you really think about it, this is a grouping of friends just talking. And that's where we keep running to an issue. The social justice movement, as best as some of their intentions are, have people like, say, Steve Shives. Because of the people I follow, Steve Shives has me blocked. And the concept of having a conversation with him seems unpalatable. It seems like a waste of time, a waste of energy, and a waste of my resource, which is my life. If I want to have a conversation with somebody, I don't want them to talk down to me the entire time. And that's why I have an issue with the social justice movement, because it's giving them this strange sense of moral superiority that allows them to talk down to people like me. I am wildly uneducated on many topics, and I will freely admit that. And the reason I'll admit it is because it's the truth. If I'm wrong, for God's sake, call me out on being wrong, because I'm not going to react like they would. And that is the problem. Until the day comes that we can have a conversation between each other and not worry about being spoken down to like we are idiots just because we have a different opinion, then we're not going to be able to get along. As much as I'd love to be able to put aside all my disagreements with these people and have a conversation, most of them don't want it. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to have that discussion. You look at me and you see an anti-social justice warrior. I look at me and I see a person who wants to have this conversation, but is met with deafened ears and eyes cast downward. Where is the discussion? Where is the conversation? Because as much as I'd like to have it, it's not happening. And that is not my fault. I want to have this conversation. I want to talk to people like Steve Shives. I want the chance to be able to attempt to show him maybe there's another way. Maybe there's another separation away from the possibility that we can talk. But that world, that possibility is not there so long as there is the possibility that these people will use block bots, will ignore you just because your opinion is different, who will snub their nose at you. I don't want to be that guy who sits here and says YouTube drama's out of hand, and nobody wants to talk to each other. But let's face it, we don't want to talk to each other. And it's the same high school bullshit that I see entirely too often. If you want to have a discussion, have a discussion. But do not talk down to anybody, because there is no moral superiority. We all need to just look at each other and understand that you and I are after the same damn thing. You want equality, I want equality. I don't want to take a label of feminist, and you don't want to take the label of men's rights activist. Go for it. Either way, the labels are pointless. What we need to focus on has nothing to do with labels. What it has to do with is fighting for equality on both sides. So whenever you want to talk about that, when you want to talk about equality for everyone, please feel free. Leave a comment in the section. It's not moderated. If you put it down there, it's gonna show up. Send me a message on Twitter. It's all in the description. Please, I would truly appreciate it. Because at some point, if we all can learn to just get along, there is the possibility of all of us doing amazing things. Look at people like, on your side, Sarkeesian. She is wildly successful. Look at people on our side. Look at Sargon. Look at Thunderfoot. These people are also wildly successful. And then there's our little fish, who always, every time, want to scrape their own little living or their own conversations just because it's fun. Because we want to have these talks. I want to have these talks too. I want to be able to talk to the other side. I want us to have a civil conversation. So please, feel free at any time to get a hold of me. We can have a conversation, be it private or not. You know, we could do this freaking live stream thing if you want to. But don't come ready to fight. Come calm. Come ready to have fun, have a good time. That's what my channel is all about, is having a good time. And when we can do that together, we'll be able to start having more serious conversations with each other. Because once there's mutual respect between the parties, that's when the conversation starts to happen. Condescending questions on either side are gonna be a problem, because we're not gonna be able to reach that point of mutual respect when we can actually start talking about ideas. You want this conversation to happen? It's possible. It can happen anytime. You just gotta come to us, or us come to you, and not get met with, oh, don't like it, block. Because a block does nothing. All it does is shut everything down. And if you want to be able to work together, the best way to do that is to come to each other with a standard of, I don't know everything you're going to say. I can't censor you on this, but I want to have a conversation. I want to actually talk. Because the moment you start talking, either side, both of you, if you start talking with mutual respect, then you are going to reach a point. And that point is the point where we can work together. So, I'd love for that. Thanks everybody for watching. I know my videos are boring as crap, but hopefully, somebody was inspired to have a conversation with this. Have a good night.